Hello everybody, Andy here from Glass Half Dead, the #1 kill team channel on YouTube, and that's of course you are aware of any other channel on YouTube. Okay, hi, what's up? So, today I want to talk about the NPO stuff. The is it the narrative, the campaign side of Shadowhunt. I don't always do this because although I enjoy the campaign, the narrative side of things, I don't actually play it that often because I kind of, I play Kill Team enough that it's like it's a thing I play with others, not on my own. And when we're doing that, we really just want to like smash through a game and then chat about things, as opposed to it being like let's have a really deep immersive experience. However, I still really like that it exists, and I think that they've done a really nice balance this year between this edition, sorry, between narrative Necromunda campaign and nothing, basically. Whereas the last edition was a little bit more that way skewed. So the reason I'm talking about it this time is because there is a reason, and it is here we go. Yep, this is the one. Because we know that when it comes to the Tomb World, there is a narrative going through the Tomb World, and it said on Warcom that this is going to be the last thing. This is the end of the Tomb World campaign, which is quite interesting because, of course, what that means is that whatever the next box is, which will be the next box, so this is the third box, then we get another box, and then in September, November, whenever it is, we will get the next Killzone, the next season begins. So we don't really know what's happening for the next box. It sounds like it's going to be a one-off. It's not going to be connected to Tomb World, and it's not going to be connected to the follow-up Killzone because it's a weird one. So this is the end of the Tomb World saga for those that have been following it. So I thought we'd have a quick look. So the unique thing that's brought to this is the Descent Killzone. This, if you've bought the box, and I know you haven't, I know nobody's been able to get it. However, hypothetically, if you have this box, you will also, along with your minis, your Murder Wing, your Celestial Insidiants, get 2 half-sized Kill Team boards. One for Into the Dark, Tomb World, and one for Vulcus. There you go. The Vulcus one has one side being the Vulcus Ruin, and the other side being the Octarius Orc map. And for this one, it's just, I think it's just 2 sides. No, one side is Tomb World, the other side is Into the Dark. So actual Gallowfall. That's quite cool. And I love the idea. I think it's a really cool idea. I do not think they needed to give us the 2 boards. That's a waste, but whatever. Moving on. Okay. Now, before we actually read how this is going to work and function, we're going to do that. So we're going to find out how the Descent Killzone works. We're going to look at the new NPOs, and of course, I've got things to say about the new Catan Shard, and then also have a look at the Adversary Ops, blah, 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 all good stuff. But before we get into that, I would like to give a subscriber-only benefit, and that subscriber-only benefit is a big double hello. Wow, so wholesome. Truly the wholesome, knows about the world of Glass Half Dead. Obviously, thanks to G-Dubs for sending me the, what's it called? Shadowhunt box. Of course, they don't get to see anything I say beforehand, and they also don't care if I say good things or bad things. So I'll probably just insult this one a bunch to prove that I can. There you go. Right. Oh, if you like what I do here, do consider checking me out on Patreon. In essence, you're doing it just to support me. I'm going to be honest. However, I do extra videos there. They tend to be more podcast style, like an hour-long rant about normally Kill Team. Check that out. There you go. Thanks. Okay. So let's go back to this quickly. You will notice here on your upper and your lower, we have little markers. These come in the token set, which I've moved upstairs, so it's not here. And you see there's a 2 there, and there's a 2 there. And here we go. And that will be your entryway marker. Now, these are quite interesting, actually. It's not, I thought it was going to be just, and this would be cool, even if this is all it was. In fact, it would be cooler. I don't know. But I figured it would just be, hey, if you're in control range of a marker, for 1 APL, you can move to the same marker on the other board, right? But there's actually a little bit more to it. So, climbing entryway markers. Whenever an entryway marker is within a friendly operative's control range, it can climb that marker for 3 inches of its move distance. Now, immediately, that is a little bit of a branch away from how how Kill Team's treating movement in general. So that's kind of cool. It's just like, hey, so this could be um, like they use teleportation pads where it uses your whole move, but this is just like, no, you pop down, you're good to go. It uses 3 inches. It's like you're making a 3-inch climb, basically, which is cool. And also confirmation that the 3-inch climb is canon. It should always be a 3-inch max. You should never have a 4 or a 5-inch climb in the game. It should always be 3 max. The game is balanced around that. But whatever, moving on. It's fine. So you move the options to kill zone and set it back up in a location to be placed so that the same numbered entryway, a 1 to a 1, a 2 to a 2, a 3 to a 3, and the other kill zone is within its control range. That operative cannot be set up within control range of an enemy operative unless it's permitted to move there during that action, like a charge. Cool, love it. And you can continue moving after setting up. Cool. We then get shooting from entryway markers. So I figured that was going to be all we get. And that's cool. Like, you need rules to how to move through them. These aren't particularly advanced or complex. Once you know the kill team rule set, you could safely assume that's roughly how they're going to work. But we can also shoot from entryway markers, which is a funky thing I didn't expect. Whenever a friendly operative performs the shoot action in an entryway marker is within its control range, instead of selecting a valid target as normal, you can select an enemy operative that has the same numbered entryway marker in the other kill zone within its control range, ignoring the range weapon rule. If you do, that enemy operative cannot be in cover, blah, 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 blah. So basically, what you're saying is it's not like you're able to shoot through the marker, right? You're not getting visibility, like valid target to marker 1, and then you can shoot out finding a valid target from marker 1 as well on the other board. Nope. It's kind of like, these are literally hatchways. If you think about it from the Volkus perspective, there would be a hatch there. You run up to within control range, you've ripped open the hatch, and then if there's an enemy within control range of the other one, you're shooting down the hatch or you're shooting up the hatch. And actually, I think that's really cool. I think that's fun. It also means, in a sense, that you can't block somebody off. So if you are, let's just say, a Marine team, and you just move a Marine to stand by one of the entryway markers, that will make it literally impossible for some teams to be able to ever move through that entryway marker ever again, right? So with this, they're saying, no, if they want to do that, you can just shoot them. That's quite fun. We then get additional rules. And this is, I'm not going to read this one. This is just telling you how some weird things work. Like, for example, how does the Mandrake Shadow Passage work? How do Aquilon drop markers work? What about the Canoptek nodes and Ravener Passage, etc.? We then get a nice little story. We get map, mission keys. We get the Shadowhunt mission pack. So all of this is just basically the same. If you've got Tomb World, you already have the Joint Ops mission pack. It's identical. We don't need to read this. That's all good. We then go to NPOs. So do notice here that when you're generating your NPOs, they recommend that you roll a 2d6 and you select from these. If you're using specifically Necrons, then you pick the Tomb World NPOs, which could be a Scarab Swarm, a Macrosite or Necron Warrior, and a Tomb Crawler. And that's obviously just on a dice roll. And for all of them, it recommends that you keep on rolling until you have put up to 90 wounds on the board. If you want to make things a little bit harder for yourself, you can go up to 100 or 110, 120, whatever you think is comfortable for you. And if you want to make things a little bit easier, just only go up to 80 or even 70. There you go, easy. But it's always a dice roll. There isn't anything that says put down 2 Scarab Swarms and a Warrior and blah, blah, blah. These are, again, all the same from what we've seen before. So is the Tomb Crawler. The Macrosite Warrior, the only real difference between the Macrosite Warrior as an NPO and as a competitive operative, a match play operative, is that it doesn't have expendable, but that's fine because you don't score points off of these guys. It's reprinting all of these, the generic ones, because I can't recall, but I don't remember seeing these in the Tomb World book. So these were actually only in the core book. So you need the core book still, but they've reprinted them, which is fine. I think that's totally cool. And sure enough, you know, some people that aren't fully au fait with the game might think, oh no, I've got to put down a macrosite warrior. I don't know what that is. I don't know what model from my collection could proxy for these rules. Not to worry, you could just put down a trooper marksman instead. You know, that kind of thing. We then get our big boy here. So, so, um, they have made this model. Like, this is a boss model. This is a big boss model. I don't know what the base size is because they haven't put it on any of these NPO things. Oh, they have on these, but not on this. Okay. So presumably it's going to be massive. Like this has to be at least what? A 60, if not an 80 mil base. This is going to be huge. And it has 2 APL. In the past, I have made like boss battle videos. And in those videos, I suggest all the different ways or a few that I think are cool ways that you can deal with initiative and how to deal with a model that is supposed to be so much significantly stronger and better than anything else, right? And yeah, this isn't exactly what I would have expected from an because this I mean, this is the shard of a god, right? And it's 2 APL, move 5. It's only got 4 more wounds than a Ravener. Now, the reason they've done this is because they want to not change anything else about the game to make it work. They don't want to change how activations work, etc., etc. That's fine. But that feels like a miss because we even have just like they could have just copy pasted how the Patriarch's APL splitting works. That would have been fine. Just give them the option to APL split. Give them 5 APL or 6 APL with an APL split. They can do 2-2-2, or they can do 3-3, or they can do 5-1, you know? But there you go. It's what it is. They didn't want to do that, and that's, I think, the biggest weakness of this, because this is their first boss battle, and they've just made it a big guy. And that's a bit of, meh, okay. Anyway, also, if you're actually playing through the pack that we are about to read, this guy only comes onto the board in one mission. It's the final mission. I think that's cool narratively, of course. So don't feel like you have to go and buy this or something, obviously, for your fun games. It comes in one mission. You know, it's what it is. Let's have a quick read, though, because this is fun. It's interesting to see what sort of abilities they think work here. So first, you've got a shot, which is a range 6, 4 attacks, on 3s, 5-0, dev 5 severe. That means you are guaranteed to take 5 immediately. So that this guy is going to kill stuff, obviously. I'm not saying he's not strong. I'm just saying the fun of a boss isn't necessarily in their raw strength, you know? You get Scythe of the Nightbreed, which is 5 attacks, healing 3s, 5-6, lethal 5 rending. Honestly, there are Space Marines with the same stat line, but that's fine. Right. Then we get a bunch of weird things. We get Mighty Foe, Necrodermis, Indomitable Reanimation, and Domineering Presence. And if I read through all of these, no, I've got to, haven't I? Let's do it. Mighty Foe. This operative cannot have a conceal order and cannot be in cover, obscured, readied, or expended, meaning it can activate multiple times per turning point, and the turning point will end when all other operatives are expended. Whenever it's the NPO's turn to activate, roll 1d6. On a 4-up, activate this NPO, or skip the activation if it isn't in the kill zone. On a 1-3, activate another ready NPO, or skip the activation if there aren't any in the kill zone. This operative can perform 2 fight actions during its activation, but cannot move more than 12 inches per turning point. So this is how they've chosen to get around the idea of, I'm a big boss guy, how do I do things? How do I show I'm a big scary boss? Some of the things that I had come up with, with my incredibly brief talks before was like it could be every third of their team you get to go kind of thing, and it was awkward. They've taken it down to a dice roll, and I'm just kind of like, I mean, look, it's fine, it works. Who cares? But I'm just saying, having this guy activate every single time because you rolled a 4 up on all of his activation rolls is like, well, this guy's now unstoppable. But he's not unstoppable because you've made a mistake. He's unstoppable because you rolled a 4 up. You rolled a 50-50 dice. And likewise, this guy might do nothing. He might just do nothing at all because you just don't roll a 4 up. It's like, oh, well, this guy was really easy to run away from, actually. That was fine. Or even kill. There you go. Right. So, it's what it is. The operative can perform 2 fight actions during its activation, but cannot move more than 12 inches per turning point. Cool. So, fine. Again, if I'm honest, I actually prefer the Patriarch's way of dealing with this, as opposed to the dice roll, and allowing the player to split activations. Although I do understand that there will be some people that will follow the behavior rules really, really strictly. And therefore, they will be like, well, hold on, how do I know when to split my activation? So, this is, of course, me talking in a very, I know how to play the game. I am confident that I can always use the behavior and the threat principle to make the game harder for myself by doing the best action with the NPO. But some people can't do that, which I do understand. So we then go to the Necrodermis. This operative cannot be injured and its stats cannot be changed. Whenever an operative is shooting this operative worse than the X of the piercing weapon by 1, note the piercing 1 would therefore be ignored. Cool. I think that's probably makes perfect sense for a Shard of God. Makes sense. Indomitable reanimation. Whenever this operative is incapacitated, before it's removed from the kill zone, place a reanimation marker underneath the center of its base, then remove it as incapacitated, also removing any tokens and rules effects it had. In the ready step of the next strat phase, roll D3 plus 1 after that many activations have been completed. Set up the operative with an engage order. Regain all lost wounds. Remove the animation marker. That reanimation marker. That's obviously really cool. I like that. I like that it just comes back to life. Pretty, not accurately, not guaranteed, but like, yeah, it's going to come back to life. And that's fun. I like it. Then we get Domineering Presence. This operative can move through parts of terrain features, including wall terrain features, as if they were not there, taking precedence over the terrain features rules, but must end those moves in a location it can be placed. When this operative moves through light terrain, remove that terrain from the kill zone unless it's attached to heavy terrain. This operative can move. You get it. They're giving a bunch of rules. I will say, apart from my frustration with how they're making APL and their activations work, which isn't the worst, I just think it could have been a more fun thing. But if they were adamant they didn't want to get too complicated, then this is fair. I do not like the random dice roll in general, but fine. They've actually done, I think, a pretty solid job. I mean, again, in my boss battles video, I had a whole section on how to make cool interactive terrain with the big boss. Whether it's a big weird ethereal guy or it's a tank and how it can change terrain. And having it come back to life makes perfect sense for a Katana the Nightbringer. Right, we then get, there are 6 missions here. 3 for your joint ops, which I'm not going to read through. Then we have the sarcophagus. Lovely. And then we have Rising Doom. Cool. I don't have anything to say about these. However, we are going to have a quick word about Adversary Ops. Now, I think Adversary Ops are good fun because when you have... So, in case you don't know, sorry, Adversary Ops are PvPVE. PvP is normal kill team. It's you against somebody else. Joint Ops is 1 or 2 or more people against the environment. So that's PvE. PvPVE is you against an opponent whilst there are NPOs on the board that neither of you control. And you can kind of play around with using those NPOs and where they're positioned and placed as kind of like, well, I want to go there, but if I go there, I'm going to have to deal with that first. So if I actually wait and let my opponent go there because I out-activate him, he has to deal with the NPO first, then I can swoop in. And it just kind of adds another little level of strategy to the game. And in addition, you get to deal with cool PvE NPOs. So this is PvPVE. And there's not huge amounts to say. Again, Into the Depths is your first mission. Unlock the Vault is your second mission. And finally, Awakening is your third mission. Now, very quickly, most of these things all say that when it comes to the NPOs, not that one, sorry, obviously I can't read that one yet. They would all say, in the setup operative step, set up 90 points worth randomly rolled. Oh, sorry, it doesn't say that. It says set up 90 wounds worth of models. And then when you go and figure out, okay, well, how do I know which ones to set up? It's always a 2d6 roll and you pick randomly. Of course, if you don't want to do that, you can just put down 90 wounds. Just go ahead, throw them down on the board. It's fine. That's going to be okay for you. You don't have to randomly roll. If you've gone out and bought the Canoptech Circle, just use the Canoptech Circle. Just without the Geomancer. That's your NPO team. Easy. You don't have to randomly roll if you've only got that minimum number of models. However, on Awakening specifically, we have something slightly different, which is don't set up any NPOs in this mission, although the Catan Shard of the Nightbringer NPO will arrive later. See Awoken Nightmare rule opposite. So I will read this one because it's a little bit interesting. So we can see the maps here. We've obviously got Volcus up top, and we've got down here, lovely jubbly. Right in the center, we have a big marker. Cool. Let's go ahead and read. Breach the vault. Entryway markers begin the battle unclimbable. Player operatives can perform the breach action, see Killzone 2 mode, while an entryway marker is within their control range, instead of a breach point. If they do, instead of resolving that action's effects, you can make that entryway marker climbable in both kill zones. That's pretty cool, right? They've taken a rule that thematically does a certain thing, and they've added it to these. I think that's really cool. We then get Find the Relic. The pickup marker action can be performed upon the objective marker, which is our big one in the center here. Worsen the hit stat of its weapons by 1, whenever an operative is carrying the objective marker, worsen the hit stat of its weapons by 1, and it cannot be removed and set up again more than 6 inches away. An operative carrying the objective marker can move over either player's kill zone edge in the upper kill zone. If any part of their base does, they are removed from the kill zone and have escaped. Now, minor aside, I find it very funny that they had to include that, because in the core rules, so obviously what you're trying to do here is escape, right? You run down here, you pick it up, you run back up, and then you run off one of the board edges, right? Cool, makes sense. However, obviously, in the core rules, you can't actually run off a board edge, you know? So they've had to specifically include in the way they're wording this, hey, you're allowed to move a base off of the board edge, which is quite funny. Personally, I would have just said when you're within control range of the board edge, but it's fine. It's cool. It's just an amusing thing. Very often, the kill team rules have to hack their own rule set. It's amusing. There you go. So then we get Awoken Nightmare. The first time the pickup marker action is performed upon the objective marker, roll 2d3. After a number of activations have been completed equal to the result, excluding the current activation, set up the Catan Shard of the Nightbringer NPO ready with an engage order on a random teleport pad terrain feature. Any player operatives on that teleport pad are incapacitated and removed from the battle. This takes precedence over all other rules. And so if we think about that, so you've picked it up here, and you're then going to rush for 2 or 1, and it is going to spawn randomly on one of these two. That's quite fun, isn't it? There you go. And then you're going to pop up over here, and you're either going to run that way or that way. And I think that's definitely interesting. Does it have to be random? Because just thinking about it, right? So it's random. So when you pick it up, you don't know which way to go. And there is no good option of which way to go. And you won't know for 2d3+1. And don't forget, the enemy's trying to fight you whilst this is happening as well. Okay? It's not just you doing a solo and there's only the Catan. All the while you're deploying here or here or whatever, the enemy's trying to kill you. So the enemy's trying to kill you. You're both trying to get to the central market and then get away. And in addition, you know that D3+1, so 3 is the average on that, activations from when you pick it up, the Catan Shard of the Nightbringer is going to spawn either there or there. Very cool. And then maybe you run towards the wrong one. And I feel like perhaps there will be a situation here where you pick it up and you're running back to this, and then the Shardbringer spawns there. And you've then got to decide, well, is it better for me to run to there and then come up here and try to get round to them? Probably not. So you'd probably immediately use one of your APL to go to there and maybe take a shot, but maybe they've stood there, so nothing. Or you can dash. I don't know. It feels like there may be a way with this loadout, with this setup, that if it spawns on the wrong one, on the wrong teleport pad, it's kind of cucked itself a little bit. And then if you just don't roll for it to go again, it's like, okay. Alternatively, as thematically it should, it pops up right next to you and kills you, and then it just gets to keep on going every activation. It's like, oh no. And so you've just lost all of your murdering dudes. Anyway, that's it. And then these Descent Killzone maps, I believe, are just showing off the maps that have been shown throughout the different missions, but I'll show them quickly, just in case they aren't. Good to record these for posterity. The final thing that has to be mentioned, of course, is that although, yes... Let's go back to it. Let's go back to it. Hold on. One sec. Almost there. Although you are getting these 2 half-size boards in this, don't forget, you could just play on normal-size boards, right? Just play on a normal-size board and don't use the other half of the board. In fact, with the way the boards fold out, I'm sure you can actually just don't unfold the board. And suddenly you have your 2 things. There you go. Just something for you to consider. I'm not saying... I don't know, it just seems like a really big waste of £20. I really don't feel that these add enough value. At least with the last one, you got the notepad for the Sisyphus expedition. I personally didn't see value in that, but nice thick notepad, lots of replay value in that, totally cool. These make no sense. This was a waste of money, if I'm honest. They should have thrown something else in. Nobody needed 2 boards. All right. Okay, well, I hope that you've enjoyed. And if you made it to the end of the video, I'd like to give you a big triple hello. Wow, so wholesome. Hey, if you like what you saw here, do consider checking me out on Patreon. This has been a big 5 videos, I think, for Shadowhunt this week. If this is the first one you've seen, check out my others. Crazy that you made it 30 minutes into this without knowing I've done other Shadowhunt videos, but there you go. Have a good one. Bye.